look at how relationships end or don't even get started, one thing you'll find is people become friends. After a few years, I've been married for 3 years now, we're starting to get a little friendly. We say things like this: what do you feel like doing? I don't know, what do you feel like doing? Okay? Or sometimes people, they start to become business partners. They start saying, what do you think about my idea to build this house and have a new home in Beverly Hills? And the other person says, well, I think it's a good idea, but I want to build a bedroom this way. And they start becoming business partners. Or if things go really sour, they can become enemies. They say, I want it my way. No, I want it my way. What they lose is they have equality, but what they lose is their chemistry. The thing they had when they first met, that polarity. This is a very important part in a relationship. Now, I'm going to talk to you about how to create polarity again, if you lost it, or to get it if you never had it. However, first I want to lay some groundwork for you. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to use a really big word, so don't be alarmed. How many people consider themselves to be, this is mean you're going to show your hand. Not that I'm under arrest. How many people consider themselves to be androgynous? Raise your hand if you think you might have it. Okay, maybe a better question. How many people know what it means to be androgynous? Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to use my chart. Probably been waiting for this the whole night. Lord knows I have. Okay, so here it is. Now, what this is the yin-yang symbol. It's a Chinese symbol. Are any of you familiar with it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm on the same page. And it depicts energy. Basically, it depicts masculine and feminine energy. They call it in Chinese yin and yang. Yang is masculine, yin is feminine. Okay? So if you look at the chart, you'll see that the male body is depicted by the larger white area. Men have a male body. However, what's interesting is they have a female soul. It's called a yin soul. And this is the work of Carl Jung. And when you look at it in contrast, feminine energy, depicted by the larger black area, has a female body. However, it has a yang soul called the animus. When you're looking at the answer to my question is, we are all androgynous. We're all a mixture of masculine and feminine energy. We have both qualities. And it's somewhere along a continuum, more or less. For men, at one extreme you have Mr. Macho. Mr. Macho exhibits masculine energy. However, his feminine energy is excluded. And then at the other extreme for men, you have Peter Pan. Peter Pan exhibits feminine energy to the exclusion of his masculine energy. So we float along this continuum. And one of the things happens when men go too far into their feminine energy is they get a little moody. They get a little grumpy. That's what happens. I don't know if you've ever seen that in a man. I'm an expert. Ask my wife. I'll tell you all about it. And then at the other extreme, you have Mr. Macho. And Mr. Macho, what will happen is he'll get really power-driven. And also, an interesting, he'll get stingy. He's trouble giving. Then for women, at one extreme, you have Daisy Daffodil, the doormat. Okay? Daisy exhibits yin energy, plenty of it. However, she's excluded her masculine energy. And at the other extreme, you have Bertha Balls, the ball buster. Okay, now Bertha is exhibiting masculine energy, and she's excluded her feminine energy. And what happens, we can all do this on any given day, things happen, and all of a sudden we're way over on the male energy, and a lot of times one of the symptoms is you get a little critical. You say stuff out of the blue like, I don't like your shirt. Out of nowhere. And then sometimes you sway too much to the feminine energy, and when women get too far into the feminine energy, then they overgive. They give too much. They have trouble saying no. Now, I'm curious, do you recognize any of these characters in your life?
Yeah.
Or in yourself sometimes, right? Yeah, so look at this. How can I explain this? The ego serves the body. ego is made of the mind and the will. And when your ego is serving the body and your energy, then you're pretty much balanced. Masculine and feminine energy is pretty balanced. However, sometimes what happens is the ego serves the soul. And when this happens, you get inside out. Let me explain that. For example, sometimes a man is operating predominantly from his feminine energy, not just on a bad day, but like all the time. And when this happens, he's inside out, he's out of balance. Okay? And sometimes this happens to women. They get their masculine energy way up, and they never get out of it. They stay there. Right? And they're inside out now. They're not in line with the body. They have a female body, but energetically they're coming from their masculine. For example, let's take... Any volunteers? No. Let's take me. As you all wait for a second. He picks me up, I'll kill him. Didn't pick you. Remember that. I have a male body. However, for many years, I operated predominantly from my feminine energy. Now, you might look at me and say, James, you seem like a nice guy. How'd that happen? I'm going to tell you. My father was an alcoholic. When men drink, it knocks out their thinking and puts them into their feelings, their feminine energy. Now, my dad had a lot of feminine, and he was really moody and really grumpy, and he was my role model, feminine energy role model. And my mom took over, and she controlled because someone's got to do it. So they reversed their roles. Now, I work with people, and I work with a lot of women, and they come into me, and we're talking, and they go, you know, James, my job's going real well, my career's going well, however, my relationship's not so well. And I ask them one very simple question. I say, what was your dad like? And invariably they say, I didn't have a dad. Or my dad was an alcoholic, or he left when I was 5. And not having a dad puts them into their male energy. Now, we live in a very interesting time in our culture. I'm going to ask you this question, ask me and tell me if you agree. There are more men operating predominantly from their feminine energy than ever before. Conversely, there are more women operating from their masculine energy than ever before. Would you agree? Yes. Mm-hmm. It's a phenomenon in our culture. It's never really happened. Now, we all fall somewhere along this continuum. However, my point is it's not set in stone. We can change where we are. And this is what I help people to do. I teach people really big words. Androgynous, semantic, realignment. Now they're big words, but they're very simple. Androgynous means we're all a mixture of masculine and feminine energy. Semantic means to just use words. Realignment means you use words to realign your energy to create the relationships you want. Based on one very simple principle. Polarity. Opposites attract. Singles repel. Now, when I teach people this work, the first thing I help them to do is discern where they are energetically right now. Because it's not about your body, it's about your energy. And once you figure out where you are energetically right now, then you can begin to see what happens, because where you are will reflect who you attract and who you are attracted to. Opposites attract, similars repel. Yin energy is attracted to yang energy and vice versa. Yin energy men are attracted to yang energy women and vice versa. There is a lid for every pot. However, in intimate romantic relationships, equality destroys intimacy. Equality at work is appropriate. We're all masculine energy at work. We say, I think, what do you think? What do you want to do? That's appropriate for work. In friendships, equality works well also, because you can say, what do you feel like doing? I don't know. What do you feel like doing? Equality in friendship is not a problem. However, in intimate romantic relationships, equality destroys intimacy. It is equity that enhances intimacy. I want to take a moment to explain equity in this context. Equality is dollar for dollar. I put in $1, you put in $1. How many women have ever been on a date with a guy who wants you to pay half? That's friendship. Equity is value for value. I bring the wine, you light the candles. It's courtship. Energetically, we're all androgynous. We're all a mixture of masculine and feminine energy. However, my next point is, anatomically, our brains are different. Anatomically, the brain is divided into two hemispheres, left and the right. The left side is the thinking, masculine, yang energy side. The right side is the feeling, feminine, yin energy side. The way I remember it is, women are always right. Works for me. And it works for my wife. Try it at home.